Hello, everyone. This is Dougal from occupied East Jerusalem. In day two of my time here, and I say occupied East Jerusalem because East Jerusalem is the predominantly or solely, at least historically, Arab part of the city of Jerusalem, which many years ago Israel illegally annexed as part of to make it part of Israel proper. Although most countries in the world do not recognize this annexation, they see it as illegal, and naturally this part belongs to the West Bank of occupied Palestinian territory. But anyway, day two has been a long day. We left at 8 o'clock this morning, and it is after 9 o'clock in the evening, and I'm just getting back to the hotel. So it's been a full day. I won't talk about everything, as I'm sure some of it won't be that interesting for anybody who's actually listening to this. I'll start kind of at the end of the day of one of the speakers we listened to, a lady named Alice, a Christian Palestinian citizen in the West Bank. And I'd like to share her story with you sometime in class, possibly. But it's a family whose house has been stolen, land has been stolen. They used to own a restaurant, it's been destroyed. They lived in tents for many years, and those tents over the years were destroyed with Israeli bulldozers. I believe she said 18 times over the course of a few years. Just recently, their house was taken from them by just Israeli settlers who came in with weapons, protected by the Israeli military, and stole her house and kicked her out. She's been arrested 3 times. Her mom has been arrested twice. They are trying to go to court, but they don't have much, they have to go to Israeli military court in order to fight their case. Usually these types of situations, the Palestinians don't have much luck. But it was really encouraging to hear from her and her commitment to love, to refusing to hate her enemies, to commitment to nonviolence, and a commitment to continue to work for justice, which is a common theme amongst Palestinians, especially the Palestinian Christian community that we are interacting with mostly here in this land. But we began our day, and this is really where I want to just spend the next few minutes. We went to a Israeli village quite close, just a few kilometers away from Gaza, from northern Gaza. And we listened to 2 Israeli Jewish survivors of October 7th who had to hide in their homes, one with their children, others with their grandchildren were hiding in their homes, and thank God, at least these ones we talked to, their families all survived, but of course none of them were left without friends who had been killed in the October 7th attack by Hamas, or kidnapped and taken away to Gaza. And so it was impactful to listen to them. One is a founder, or maybe not founder, but director of Rabbis for Peace, I believe it's called. And another is a Jewish elderly lady who also runs a peace organization. And before October 7th, they were working for peace, trying to work for peace in the ways they saw best fit, the way they know how to do it in the ways that they can, working as minorities in this kind of working for peace in this atmosphere is a work that puts you into the minority group. And yet they were doing it with people in Gaza, with people in the West Bank. And yet, even after October 7th, they still commit to doing so, to working for peace, believing that neither Palestinian or Jewish people will go anywhere, leaving the land, and so they have to find a way. There's no other way but peace, and so there's no other option. Either they keep killing one another until they're both destroyed, or they find a way to live in peace with one another. And so that is what they're working for. From there, we took a short ride to the closest point we could get to northern Gaza. Kind of it's kind of a lookout point, I guess. Looking out just maybe a couple, 1.5, 2 kilometers from Gaza. And it's hard to describe, just standing there, seeing in the distance what you know is just utterly destroyed cities, buildings, livelihoods, families, an area where people are literally starving to death right now in northern Gaza, seeing smoke rising in the air, hearing jets in the background, and just knowing the pain and the suffering of so many innocent people in Gaza is heartbreaking. And to know that my government, many of your governments, are funding this genocide, are arming this genocide with weapons, who are justifying this genocide through the media, through politics, is heartbreaking and is angering. And then on top of that, to know that it's the people of my faith are also doing the same things. People of my faith who claim to follow Jesus, who is who we call the Prince of Peace, who taught the ways of nonviolence and love for our enemies, and to not retaliate, to not return evil for evil, but to return good when evil is done to you. And to stand there and see that people who claim to follow this same Jesus can justify this mass slaughter of men, women, and children, who can sign their names on the bombs, on the 2,000-pound bombs that will be dropped on their heads, who will cheer for the food and medical supplies and aid being blocked, and will preach from the scriptures that is part of God's will. It leaves you with this anger, with this deep, deep sadness. Where you get on you just can't help but to cry. You just can't help but to weep, but you also just can't help but to speak up. You just can't help but to say, I cannot be silent. I have to speak the truth of what I've seen, what I've experienced. And injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. We will not be free until everyone is free, and that we must work for peace, for justice, and to believe that peace can't come without justice. And so we stood there overlooking this devastated land of over 2 million people displaced from their homes, 50% or more under the age of 18. Tens of thousands dead, maybe even more. And yet we stood there and we prayed and we sang songs of justice. We sang songs of defiance against hopelessness and against apartheid and against war and against hate. And it it just leaves you with a desire to do something, but while at the same time just with no words. So that was day 2. We did some other things. We traveled to Bethlehem, gone all day. Tomorrow, traveled to Hebron, talk with people. But that's all for today, and no necessarily hopeful message, but just sharing a little bit about this heartbreaking, truly heartbreaking experience of traveling to as close as we could get to the barrier, to the fence, to the genocide in Gaza, to somehow say, we are with you, that we will not be silent. We are with you. We will stand in solidarity with you, even when nobody else will, even when everybody else will lie and say it's not a genocide and say it's justified and say Palestinians are all terrorists. We will stand and we will say, no, that's not true. It's lies. And we will stand and we will be with you. It's not enough, but it's something. Good night. Peace.